Well, I'm here today with Dr Ineka Van Zyl, who's part of the Anthem Church community here, who'll be sharing with us this weekend. We'll be having a discussion about mental health and this current COVID season's impact on the way our brain functions. But I just thought it'd be great for you to hear just a few practical tips from her today as we lead into the weekend around physical exercise and some of these practical things that we can do to help our thinking.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm looking forward to catching up with you on Sunday. I guess mental health's been a real topic of conversation for us, and for the wider community through COVID. And I guess I just wanted to share something I'm really passionate about is brain health and how that is intimately connected with mental health. So I guess some of the things we can be doing for our brain right now, knowing that the brain is really the apparatus, if you like, for thinking well and feeling, emotionally well, we need to keep a healthy brain. And in order to do that, I guess there are a few basic things that we've all heard: the importance of diet and exercise and, sleep and drinking lots of water. But I wonder how many of us are actually sort of really understand why we need to do that in order to keep our brain healthy.
So tell us why.
Well, the brain is an incredibly energy-hungry organ, so it only makes up about 2% of our total body weight, but it consumes an enormous 20% of all the oxygen we breathe. So through respiring, through our lungs, 20% of oxygen, and 25%, so a quarter of all the energy that we produce in our body through the foods we eat and through our body's own ability to create its own cellular energy, the brain consumes a quarter of all of that.
Wow.
So with this in mind, we need to understand that we need to keep feeding our brain. We wouldn't let a Formula One engine run on empty. No. And effectively, that's what it is. It's the most powerful supercomputer on the planet, but it needs a lot of fuel to keep running. So we need to keep a healthy mind, but to do that, we need to keep a healthy brain. So first and foremost, we need to exercise. Now, if you were to disassemble all of the blood vessels inside of the brain, if we were to dissolve away the meat of the brain, the average adult human brain would have about 160,000 kilometers of blood vessels just inside the brain, just in one brain, which in fact is enough to circumnavigate planet Earth 4 times if you were to connect all your blood vessels of your brain end on end. So it's really the transport highway. The blood vessels are what deliver all of the oxygen, all of the nutrients, all of the goodies into the the brain cells within the cortex, or within the whole brain. So we need to keep the blood flowing, and we need to keep it oxygen rich. So exercise is key to that. We need to keep our heart pumping that blood around. It's the pump of the blood around the body. So the international guidelines on exercise are to exercise moderately. So that's still being able to speak while you're exercising. You don't need to, go flat out where you can't breathe. Just a moderate level of exercise for 30 minutes most days.
Right.
So that's just to keep that blood flow going. And we know for sure, we always feel good. You never regret, as hard as it is sometimes to get out and, go out for a run some days, we never regret going out for a good exercise session. We always feel good afterwards. And there's a reason for that. We know we're flushing our body with fresh oxygenated blood, and we're releasing feel-good chemicals into the brain at the same time called endorphins. So exercise is really key to keeping a healthy brain. Secondly, diet. So a nice balanced diet. This isn't just, strict diet. The Mediterranean diet really is the most championed diet through neuroscience for the keeping of a healthy brain and healthy brain matter. A healthy Mediterranean diet, if you Google Mediterranean diet pyramid, at the bottom we've got all the healthy, the fresh fruits and vegetables, legumes and grains. Then we've got sort of a moderate intake of meat and dairy, and a minimal intake, the sometimes food, being the sugar and the saturated fats. So the delivery of good balance of vitamins and nutrients into the brain are really key to having, good healthy brain cells communicating and talking, through our neural networks. Water is an important part of diet. So it's said the average adult needs 2 to 3 litres of water per day. We know that the body's made up of over 80% water. In some parts of the brain, it's over 90% water.
Wow.
So we really need to keep, the volume of water in our brains and in our bodies. So keeping those, 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, getting into the habit of having a bottle of water with you wherever you go is really key. Sleep is a huge one. All of the neuroscientific research suggests that we need a minimum as adults, a minimum of 7 hours sleep a night, of quality sleep. We know that during sleep is where all of our memories and the information that we've obtained during the day becomes consolidated and I guess kind of compartmentalized and pigeonholed while we sleep. So it's really key. The other thing that happens while we sleep is our body has its own sort of repair mechanisms, particularly the genes. So that our own DNA have repair mechanisms that take place. If you think about our bodies and our DNA like a busy road, so there's a lot going on during the day. There's lots of information going up and down the DNA tracks, I guess, of our cells. During the day, they sort of accumulate little potholes and little glitches, through the structure of the DNA, like a road would accumulate potholes through busy traffic on the day. Yeah. But at night time, while we're in our sort of deepest phases of our sleep, our regenerative sleep, our restorative sleep, we know that cellular mechanisms sort of switch on, and it's like the little road workers coming out in the middle of the night to patch up all the potholes in our DNA.
So if we don't sleep, we're not getting that repair mechanism.
Exactly. And what happens over time, particularly say in the case of chronic sleep deprivation, we're getting an accumulation of cellular damage that expedites, so increases the speed at which we age. It affects our immune systems, it affects our cardiovascular systems, it affects our central nervous systems. All of these sort of cellular systems in our body will physically and biologically suffer damage if we don't have that restorative 7 to 8 hours sleep a night.
Wow. We'll talk probably more about that and some methods that we can put in place in our personal life to help with that particular aspect of
absolutely
brain health.
Yeah, it's a really key. I look forward to unpacking that a bit more on Sunday.
Great.
The other thing was this idea of getting out in nature, getting outdoors a bit more. And we live in one of the most beautiful parts of the planet. We're very fortunate. Though through COVID, we've been asked to stay at home and we've been asked to restrict our outings and so on. However we can, even if it's in our own front garden, to get out and just feel the grass between our toes or the sand under our feet. If we can go for a walk along the beach, there's a new, phenomenon in the medical field at the moment where instead of simply going to an anti-depression, medications for depression and anxiety, doctors are actually prescribing, in the first instance, what's called these green prescriptions. And they're simply advising their patients to go out and get out amongst nature.
Isn't that amazing?
If you're suffering mental health, or you're feeling the impacts mentally of COVID and isolation, that sort of thing, to get out and to just get some fresh air, be in nature, stop and smell the roses, as it were. Of course, that's not going to replace the need for medication. Obviously there's a place for medication in depression and anxiety, but of course, we're trying to help people, I guess, just realise the simple things that they can be doing in their day-to-day life right now to help mitigate some of those sort of the mental health strain, I guess, that they might be feeling.
That's great.
As impacts of COVID.
I think as we get into the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about technology. We're going to be talking about community and the importance of that. But I think just some things people can put in place today, some practical things you've given us right now that people can take away this week. And don't forget to be with us on both Sunday 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and our service streams on Facebook and YouTube. You can check us out at Anthem Church AU. Looking forward to this conversation coming up over the next couple of weeks.